anybody who wasn't in here when I introduced myself before, I'm Ryan Jennings from Sweet Pea Plant-Based Kitchen. We're a whole food plant-based meal delivery and nutrition coaching company here in Rochester, New York. And it's our pleasure to be here with you for this event. We've given you a recipe. It's the exact one that we use at Sweet Pea. You're gonna have to get your gram scale out because that's how we keep it tight in the kitchen. But to get the best flavor from the spices, you want to toast and grind them almost as soon as you plan to use them, and not keep them too much longer after that. That's how you get the best taste there. So we're going to start out with some allspice. We got fenugreek. Watch your heat, especially the fire department here. We got some whole fennel seeds, and then these are whole black peppercorns. These are all whole spices that I'm toasting here. We've got a few ground ones that we'll add at the end. But if you start with the whole spices, toast them, then grind them, we'll mix them with any of the pre-ground spices. And you'll probably be able to smell them, at least those in the front row. Yeah, there you go. Got whole coriander seeds, whole cumin, and then a few cloves. So I'm going to toast this over sort of medium high heat until they become fragrant, and they're going to start sort of popping here in a moment, and that's when you know they'll just be about ready to grind. So there, I mean, I think everybody in the front at least can probably smell some of these things. This is exactly what you want. It's going to give you toasted sort of oils and spices. They're going to start working. And there you go. We see just sort of plume of smoke, and that's what we'll stop there. Bring over the trusty coffee grinder here. I have one at home just for spices so that your coffee doesn't get too zesty. But if that's what you're into, I'd say go for it. Transfer them to this bowl. So you'll see in your recipe there that I recommend cooling them fully before putting them in the spice grinder. But in the interest of time, and we're living a little dangerously here tonight, we're going to go right into the spice grinder. So then we just start grinding. It's a little trick they don't show you on TV. Just be careful. So we've got all our whole ground spices here, and we'll add some of the ones that are ground. A bit of smoked paprika, za'atar, which is a Middle Eastern spice of oregano, sesame seeds, sumac, and ground thyme. We've also got some cardamom. That's okay to get ground. I don't know if anybody's gotten the pots before, but breaking part of those little things there, yeah, it's okay to cheat on that one. Some turmeric, and again, some sumac for a nice sort of citric taste. And so then we've got just a little whisk here. So then we've got our spices for the evening. That'll store well in a sealed container in a dark place for like up to 3 months, but I would say use it sooner rather than later. And give it a little bit of toast before you use it for a recipe. So beyond the jar of spice, we're going to make some of the sweet potato hummus that we prepare at Sweet Pea, a beet tabbouleh, and then some of our baked falafel. So all incorporating this spice and a few other ingredients. So we'll get started with the hummus. What we have here is just sweet potatoes. We roasted them in their jackets about 450 degrees for an hour or so, just until the outside starts to brown a bit. The sugars and starches in the sweet potatoes start to caramelize on the inside a little bit. And then we just let those cool. Save the juices. Pop them here. So we've got the rest of the ingredients for the dish here. Start out with some garlic from my friends Patty and Steve, Full Moon Farm in Ontario. We'll grow some delightful garlic out there. Got a little bit of that sumac that I was talking about before. A little bit of hot sauce. Start fermented chili peppers with a little bit of vinegar. We got some tahini. You can omit this if you'd like to. Just going to add a little bit more water. of salt. You can also omit that as well. Get started. This is the fun part. This is all you gotta do. So you want to puree this until it's very smooth, and as you're doing that, you can start adding in a little bit of ice water, a tablespoon at a time. Just looking for it to get just nice and smooth. So here's our hummus. You'll see you want it to jiggle just a little bit, but not, it shouldn't be like a sauce. I like to top it with some more za'atar. We got a little bit of that hero spice that we made before. And I like a little chili on mine. You don't have to have it if it doesn't work. And that's our hummus. It's also going to be the basis for the next recipe, our baked falafel. So when we came up with this menu, we tried to come up with as many different things that folks could actually do at home. Part of what we do at Sweet Pea is try to take all the guesswork out of it and make it simple and approachable, but things that have sort of a chef's touch to it. These are some of the recipes that I can translate well to the home kitchen, mostly because I don't even have to get the oven on for most of them with this one. But we started out with some cooked chickpeas. It's okay to use canned. You want to try to rinse them to reduce the sodium, but if you can cook them on your own, we recommend just soaking them the night before. Changing out that water and then just simmering them in simmering water until they're tender. Great way to preserve that is in like the large Ziploc bags. If you lay them flat, they don't take up too much room in the freezer, and you can just pull them out as you need them. Again, we're going to add some more spices. We've got the hero spice, some cumin, sumac and za'atar. We've zested a lemon here. A little bit of baking powder, which you can omit if you like. And some lemon juice. And some ice. So with this, we want to let it go until it's smooth, but not as smooth as the hummus. We want a little bit of texture. So we can add some quinoa, nice source of protein, and it's also going to get a little crunchy when we bake them. Nice puree, but it's still got all the good pieces of chickpeas there. From there, we're going to add our herbs. So we've got some fresh dill, parsley, cilantro. Not everybody likes cilantro. You can just omit that if you don't care for it and substitute the other herbs. A little bit of fresh garlic. And then you want to go through, chop this nicely. I like nice big pieces of herbs in this. I like to keep these trays lined with parchment near me. They make it easy. And so then we're just going to fold in the herbs here. And you just want to make sure that it's well incorporated. And so here, you just want to roll them into sort of small meatball-sized balls. Dipping your hands in water helps keep the falafel from going too far. And then if we just press them lightly into a little patty, you could use a nice cream scoop for this. So from here, these go into like a 450 degree oven. You want it nice and hot. You get crisp edges. You make these smaller size. They're great for a little hors d'oeuvre at a party. A little bit larger, turn them into burgers. They freeze okay if you were going to. I would say freeze them at this point if you were going to. But yeah, as I said, these go into a 450 degree oven for about. They'll get nice and brown around the outside. The quinoa kind of crisps up, so you got a little bit extra texture. And there we have the falafel. And so for the last sort of component to the dish, and then we'll plate it, we're going to make the tabbouleh. So
So for that, we're going to start by making the dressing. We've got just a little bit of fresh lemon juice, shallot or red onion. We've diced this already, and then rinsed it under cold water to remove some of that sort of unappealing raw onion taste. You could omit that if you want. A little bit more lemon juice. Red bell pepper. Most importantly, the beets. We just roasted those. We trimmed either end, put them in a hotel pan with just any sort of liquid is fine, just a little bit on the bottom. You can add some herbs and spices as well. Cover them and just roast them until they're tender and take the skins off. And that's where we are here. You could just shred them too, which would be nice to have a little extra crunch. There's also a great company here in Rochester called I Love Beet, and they have prepared roasted beets. Some of them are marinated in vinegar and things and pickled, so check them out. From there, again, more of our spices, the Euro spice that we made, sumac, a little bit of garlic, za'atar, some lemon peel, and a little bit of Dijon mustard. So we'll just leave that to marinate while we add a few other things. So one of the fun things we got from Patty and Steve this week were these scarlet turnips. So we're going to add that to this dish because part of what we do when we get great things from the farm is freestyle a little bit. So you know, they kind of mimic the color of the dish that we have, so it can't be wrong together. Use my favorite peeler here, these Y ones. Again, tray with parchment. Don't have to clean up after ourselves. And so when I'm peeling things, I always like to use one of these and also do it by rotating it. So keep this cool loaf on top, go top to bottom, and then it all goes very quickly there. And then whenever cutting anything, especially when you're all of a sudden a giant and doing this, you want to stop things from rolling around. So you do that by taking the ends off. From there, just slice these thinly. You could use a mandolin if you wanted. Watch out for those things, they're dangerous. Watch out for this thing, it's dangerous. There, we're just going to cut them into a nice julienne. And then come back through. The French call this brunoise. Just a tiny dice here. And that way we won't have to cook the turnip at all. And it'll just add a nice sort of refreshing crunch to the dish. And we're also going to add just a little bit of cucumbers. Alright, and there we are. Yep. Any of these things you can have as a little crude snack or send to your favorite composter. We have been fortunate enough to work with a company called Impact Earth Organics here in Rochester since we started Sweet Pea. I also added a little bit of diced celery. And so together we've been able to keep about 12 tons of food waste out of the landfill here in Rochester. Thank you. They do it for us. So wherever you're from, it's becoming more and more popular and accessible. You can also do it at home. So we just mixed up the same sort of herbs that were in the falafel. We're just kind of like building flavors throughout the dish here. So we've got dill, parsley, cilantro, scallions. And just mixing them with our vinaigrette here. And then we're going to add our quinoa. We gave you a recipe there, but that's just a place to start. If you like more beets, more vegetables, go from there. If you like less vegetables, you're probably in the wrong place. You just want it to all be sort of well incorporated, lots of fresh herbs, the earthy beets, and from there we'll kind of take it to a plate here. So just a dollop of the hummus. One of our falafel on top. And we've got our dish.